Welcome the Lord's chosen. The scariest moment for the world is when a quiet genius finally decides to speak. They say 2% of the population are geniuses, but here's the real kicker. Most people never recognize them until it's too late. By the time people realize they were sitting next to a mind that could have changed everything, you're already on your next mountain, leaving them frozen, replaying every conversation in their heads. It's funny, isn't it? You've been walking around dropping insights like breadcrumbs, while people thought you were too quiet, too intense, or too different. Now they're lost for words because your brilliance is undeniable, and their denial can't protect them anymore. What's happening right now is bigger than they're finally noticing you. They're finally realizing you were the solution hidden in plain sight. Every room you enter shifts, not because you're loud, but because your presence exposes what's fake, what's weak, and what's unfinished in them. And the best part, you didn't even have to scream for attention. Your work, your resilience, and your unshakable alignment are doing all the speaking. And it's leaving them stunned. So buckle up, because in this video we're going to unpack why your genius is starting to make people uncomfortable, why their awkward silences are actually confessions, and why your mere existence is about to shift the atmosphere wherever you go. Because when a chosen one finally realizes they're a genius, everything changes. Number one, you've been solving problems they didn't know existed. You've been solving problems they didn't even know existed. That's why they're stunned. While people spend years complaining about the same issues, you quietly see the gaps no one else is noticing, and you fix them without announcing it. You spot why something keeps breaking, why a system is failing, why a conversation feels off, why a business is leaking money, or why people keep repeating the same patterns, and you know exactly what needs to change to make it work. Most people are trained to put band-aids on situations, but you instinctively look for the deeper cause, the real crack that's about to break the whole foundation. You don't settle for surface solutions because your mind naturally seeks to restore order where there's chaos. It's wild how many people don't even realize there's a problem until you solve it. And when you do, they're left speechless, not just because you fixed it, but because they didn't even see it was broken in the first place. That's the kind of genius that makes people uncomfortable. It's not the loud, flashy, look-at-me type of intelligence. It's the type that shifts entire environments without permission, exposing where others have been asleep at the wheel. You leave people questioning themselves, wondering how you saw what they missed and how many other blind spots they're living with. You also don't waste time explaining your every move, which makes your results speak louder. You're not out here bragging about your mind. You're using it to remove friction, to create smoother paths, to untangle what's stuck, and to make what seemed impossible suddenly look easy. That's why people are quietly watching you now, trying to figure out how you keep seeing what they can't. It's not luck. It's the fact that your mind is built to solve problems that would never even register on other people's radar. And that's the real reason they're lost for words around you. Number two, you see patterns where others see noise. You see patterns where others see noise, and that's what sets you apart. While people are overwhelmed by details and distractions, your mind naturally zooms out and connects the dots that others don't even notice. You can walk into a situation and within minutes sense the unspoken dynamics, the real reasons things aren't working, and the hidden links between small moments that add up to something bigger. This is why your insights often leave people speechless. They're so used to living in the middle of chaos that they don't even realize there's a code running underneath it, but you see it clearly, like a map they can't read. You notice how one bad habit in someone's morning routine affects their confidence at work, which affects how they speak to their clients, which affects their money. You see how a minor communication gap in a team is tied to a larger culture of avoidance that will eventually sabotage their goals. Others may see isolated events, but you see the thread tying everything together, and once you pull it, the whole picture becomes clear. It's why people keep coming back to you, asking, how did you even notice that? They don't realize it's not something you force, it's the way your mind is wired. What's even more intriguing is you often see these patterns in your own life too. It's what helps you evolve quickly while others stay stuck in the same cycle for years. You're not just experiencing moments. You're studying them, seeing how one choice leads to another, and adjusting so you don't repeat the same mistakes. This ability makes people both admire you and feel uneasy around you, because it forces them to confront how much they've ignored in their own lives. And when you speak on what you see, it disrupts their comfort, but deep down they know you're right. That's why your genius leaves them speechless. You don't just have eyes, you truly see. Number 3, you make complexity feel embarrassingly simple. You make complexity feel embarrassingly simple, and that's why people freeze when you speak. While others get lost in the weeds trying to sound smart with complicated words, you have a way of cutting straight to the point and making even the most confusing situation easy to understand. It's not that the situations themselves aren't complex, it's that your mind sees the essence of the problem so clearly that you can explain it in a way that even a child could grasp. And that's what genius really is. Translating the complicated into clear, leaving people wondering why they couldn't see it that way all along. When people finally hear your explanation, there's a moment of stunned silence, like their minds are recalculating everything they thought they knew. They realize the confusion they held onto wasn't necessary, and it exposes how they've been hiding behind "it's complicated" as an excuse not to act. Your clarity forces decisions. It forces movement. It forces people to face what they've been avoiding, because suddenly there's nowhere left to hide under the fog of confusion. You don't achieve this by showing off what you know, you do it by truly understanding what matters and ignoring what doesn't. You strip away the fluff, the drama, and the unnecessary layers people add to problems out of fear or pride. And when you speak, it's like a breath of fresh air in a room full of heavy confusion, but it's also confronting because it reveals how much time and energy people have wasted making things harder than they needed to be. This is why your presence is felt even when you're quiet. People sense that you're not overwhelmed by chaos the way they are, and they can't quite figure out why. It's because you have a rare ability to see the heart of things, to untangle the knots in seconds that others have struggled with for years. And when you open your mouth, they realize simplicity isn't weakness, it's the ultimate form of mastery. Number 4, your genius exposes their comfort in mediocrity. Your genius exposes their comfort in mediocrity. And that's why they can't look you in the eye for too long. Your consistency, your sharp mind, and the way you quietly master what you put your hands to remind them of what they could have achieved if they hadn't chosen comfort over growth. It's not that they don't have potential, it's that they settled for excuses, distractions, and temporary pleasures while you chose discipline, sacrifice, and focus. Your results make them uncomfortable because it proves that what they call impossible is just something they didn't have the courage to commit to. They can't stand how you don't need external motivation to show up for your calling. You're not waiting for a perfect mood to work, or for people to validate your vision, or for opportunities to fall into your lap. You've trained yourself to do the hard things consistently, even when no one is watching. And it's that level of quiet discipline that exposes the noise in their lives. Your breakthroughs highlight the places where they've chosen to stay stuck, where they've given up on their own potential, and where they've allowed fear to become their ceiling. What unsettles them the most is that you don't even flaunt your excellence. You're not loud about your growth, your knowledge, or your wins, but it shows up in your confidence, your perspective, and your ability to deliver results without drama. They realize you're living proof that it's possible to evolve beyond survival, but it requires sacrificing the comfort of scrolling, complaining, and waiting for a perfect moment that never comes. Your genius confronts their laziness, their half-hearted effort, and their willingness to let distractions rob them of purpose. It's not your fault they feel small around you. It's their choices that shrink them when faced with your evidence that greatness is possible. And while they may never say it out loud, the silence, the envy, and the tension in the air are confessions that your excellence is a mirror they can't escape. Number 5, you redefine what is possible without asking permission. You redefine what is possible without asking permission, and it leaves people stunned because they built their entire lives around limits they never questioned. You don't wait for someone to tell you it's okay to take a leap, to build that idea, to step into rooms you were told you didn't belong in. You simply move, and in doing so, you show that the barriers people worship are often just illusions. Your quiet breakthroughs force people to realize that what they call realistic is often just fear dressed up as wisdom. While others are busy explaining why something can't work, you're busy making it work. You're not loud about your moves, but your results speak for themselves. and it shakes people because it exposes how much of their life is driven by permission-seeking. You've learned how to pursue what calls you without waiting for everyone to agree, and that self-trust is what births your breakthroughs. You don't need a committee to validate your ideas, and you don't shrink yourself to fit into other people's comfort zones. You move with a quiet authority that says, "It's possible because I decided to make it possible." People watch you create paths where none existed, and it challenges their carefully crafted excuses about why they can't move forward. It forces them to face the fact that many of the ceilings they live under are self-imposed. You expose how much potential they've abandoned in the name of playing it safe, and it's not because you're trying to prove anything. It's simply who you are. Your ability to redefine what's possible comes from your willingness to take risks, to fail, and to learn without quitting. You don't let fear dictate what you're capable of, and you don't allow the opinions of small thinkers to cage your vision. You live in the realm of what can be, and it shows. That's why your presence alone expands the minds of those around you, whether they admit it or not. Number 6, you can't unsee truth, and it makes others uneasy. You can't unsee truth, and that's why people feel uneasy around you, even if they can't explain it. Your mind and spirit are tuned to what's real, and once you've seen through a lie, you can't pretend it's true just to keep the peace. You see the games people play with themselves, the stories they repeat to feel safe, and the ways they avoid growth by clinging to denial. They might smile and laugh, but you can sense the fear behind their jokes, the insecurity behind their arrogance, and the emptiness behind the image they're trying to protect. Your clarity is sharp, and it doesn't need to shout to cut through illusions. You walk into a room and sense what's off before anyone says a word. You notice how people contradict themselves, how they talk about wanting change but refuse to let go of the habits that keep them stuck, how they demand honesty from others while lying to themselves daily. You see the masks, and even if you stay silent, people can feel that you see it, and it shakes them. They're used to environments where everyone agrees to pretend. You're the quiet reminder that pretending won't save them. Your presence alone can feel like a mirror, reflecting back to them the truth they've worked so hard to bury. It's why some people distance themselves from you without explanation, why they might get defensive when you speak simple truths, or why they feel exposed even when you haven't said a word. You're not trying to be harsh. You simply refuse to live in a fantasy. And deep down, people respect you for it, even if it makes them uncomfortable. They know you are someone who will not feed their illusions, and that forces them to decide whether they are ready to face the truth in themselves too. Your clarity is a gift, but it's also a confrontation, and it's what separates you from those who would rather stay blind than grow. Number 7, you have mastered the art of unlearning. You have mastered the art of unlearning, and that's what makes your genius different from people who only collect information to look smart. You don't just add knowledge for the sake of it, you question everything you've been taught, even if it came from people you respect. If a belief, mindset, or habit no longer serves your growth, you let it go without apology, even if it means standing alone. That's a rare courage most people don't have, and it's why your progress feels so disruptive to those around you. While others hold on to outdated mindsets because it makes them feel secure, you've learned that clinging to what's familiar can quietly kill your potential. You understand that growth isn't about hoarding information. It's about having the humility to admit you were wrong, the wisdom to adjust, and the courage to detach from identities that no longer align with where you're going. This is why your breakthroughs keep coming, while others remain stuck, defending beliefs that limit them. You've unlearned the need to please everyone. You've unlearned the idea that you need to be busy to be productive. You've unlearned the fear of taking up space with your gifts. Each time you unlearn something, you create space for clarity, creativity, and real wisdom. People can sense that freedom in you, and it both inspires and unsettles them because they're still holding on to mindsets they know they need to release but are too afraid to confront. Your ability to unlearn is what keeps you evolving, and it's why your genius feels so fresh. It's not rigid or tied to outdated methods. It's adaptable, alive, and effective because you're always willing to grow beyond your last level. That's what sets you apart. It's not just what you know, but what you're willing to let go of that makes you powerful. And people can't help but notice how different you move because of it. Number 8, you think in systems while others think in steps. You think in systems while others think in steps, and that's why your mind leaves people in quiet shock. Most people only know how to follow instructions, ticking off boxes without understanding how the boxes connect. They look for the next step, the next hack, the next quick fix. But you're seeing the entire architecture while they're stuck on one tile. You don't just want results for today, you're building structures that will keep producing results long after you've moved on. That's a different kind of genius, and it intimidates people because it exposes how small they've been thinking. You notice patterns in processes and immediately know how to make them better, faster, or more efficient. While others are satisfied doing the same thing every day, you're thinking about how to automate, how to improve the flow, and how to reduce friction so things can operate at a higher level with less chaos. You don't just see what's in front of you, you're seeing where it will lead, what it will require, and how it will impact everything connected to it. That's why your decisions often seem bold to others, but to you, they're just logical, because you're operating from the big picture, not a momentary emotion. You don't build just for yourself. You build frameworks that others can use, systems that allow people to win even in your absence, and structures that will keep delivering value beyond your immediate involvement. It's why your work has a legacy to it. People sense that your impact will outlive you, and it challenges the temporary mindset they've grown comfortable with. They're busy reacting to problems as they show up, but you're solving problems before they even exist. Your systematic thinking is your superpower. And it's why people come to you when what they've been doing stops working. It's not because you're smarter. It's because you've trained yourself to think beyond steps, to think in layers, and to think in blueprints. And that's why your presence alone demands respect, even if people can't fully explain why. Number 9, you turn your pain into frameworks, not just survival stories. You turn your pain into frameworks, not just survival stories, and that's why people are lost for words around you. Most people go through hard seasons and either let it break them or turn it into a sad story they repeat for pity. You're different. You take what was meant to destroy you and break it down, study it, and pull out the lessons that can help you and others navigate life better. You don't waste your pain, you turn it into strategy. Where others see their suffering as something to hide or complain about, you see it as data. You analyze what happened, what choices led to it, what patterns kept you stuck, and what mindsets delayed your healing. Then you extract a clear, repeatable system to avoid that pit again. You don't just heal and move on, you organize what you learned so you can teach it, live by it, and build something lasting from it. That's why your wisdom hits different. It's not theory, it's earned insight. It's why people go quiet when you share what you've learned. They expected you to still be broken or bitter, but you're calm, clear, and intentional about how you use your scars. You're not telling your story to get validation. You're telling it to equip others with tools, mindsets, and perspectives that will help them navigate their own struggles. You've found a way to turn your darkest moments into guiding lights, and people can't help but respect that. Your ability to transform pain into frameworks also makes you unshakable. You know you can handle storms because you've turned storms into maps before. That confidence radiates, and it challenges those who are still using their pain as an excuse not to grow. You are proof that pain can become a blueprint, not a prison, and that's why your presence is so impactful even when you're silent. You embody resilience in a way that isn't loud, but it's undeniable. Number 10, you don't just have ideas. You birth paradigm shifts. You don't just have ideas, you birth paradigm shifts. And that's why people walk away from conversations with you feeling like their entire perspective just got upgraded. Most people share opinions that inspire for a moment and fade by morning, but your thoughts have a way of sticking in people's minds, forcing them to rethink how they see themselves, their potential, and the world around them. It's not that you're trying to sound deep. It's that you see life from angles most people don't even know exist, and when you speak, it opens doors in their minds they didn't know were locked. Your words don't just motivate people to feel good for a day. They awaken people to see what's been keeping them small, and once they see it, they can't unsee it. You challenge assumptions they didn't even realize they had, like what success should look like, what they're capable of, and what limits they've unconsciously accepted as truth. It's why people sometimes look at you in shock or go quiet when you speak. It's not disrespect, it's the weight of realization hitting them in real time. You have a way of taking a concept people think they understand and flipping it on its head, revealing layers they've overlooked. While others share recycled content, you extract wisdom from your experiences, your failures, and your observations, creating perspectives that are fresh, practical, and challenging. It's why people find themselves quoting you days or weeks later, often without even realizing it. Your mind isn't satisfied with surface-level ideas. You look for root causes, deeper truths, and systems that can transform lives, not just momentarily hype people up. You're not here to echo what's popular. You're here to advance how people think. That's why your genius doesn't feel like information. It feels like awakening. You don't just give people something to post about. You give them something to live by. And that's why your presence shifts rooms and your words linger long after you've spoken. Number 11, your genius has no need for external validation. Your genius has no need for external validation, and that's what makes it powerful. You're not out here begging for applause or forcing people to see your worth. You know who you are, what you carry, and what you're capable of, and that quiet confidence does more for your reputation than any amount of self-promotion ever could. While others are chasing likes, praise, and constant reassurance, you're locked in, doing the work and letting your results speak on your behalf. It's why people respect you even if they don't say it out loud. They see how you show up consistently, mastering your craft and delivering with excellence, whether there's an audience or not. They notice how you move with purpose, not desperation, and how you don't need to announce every move to feel important. Your focus on the mission, not the noise, is what sets you apart, and it quietly exposes the neediness in those who constantly seek recognition just to feel valid. You've learned that external validation is temporary and shallow, and you'd rather build a life and legacy rooted in authenticity and substance. You're not working for claps. You're working for impact, for alignment, and for the satisfaction that comes from knowing you did what you were called to do, whether people noticed or not. And ironically, this detachment from the need for approval is what draws people to you. They can sense the stability, the security, and the freedom you operate from, and it challenges them to question why they're so addicted to outside opinions. Your quiet excellence forces people to pay attention, even if they try to ignore you. You don't have to demand respect. Your consistency commands it. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone because your life and your results are the proof. That's what makes your genius different. It's not loud, but it's undeniable. And it leaves people no choice but to acknowledge the weight of who you are and what you carry. Number 12, you move with integrity that exposes hidden corruption. You move with integrity that exposes hidden corruption. And that's why people feel uneasy around you, even when you're silent. You don't bend your values just to get ahead, fit in, or secure quick rewards. And that consistency shines a light on people who cut corners when no one's looking. Your presence becomes a mirror, revealing the shortcuts, lies, and quiet betrayals others have accepted as normal. And it's not because you're judging them, it's because your authenticity makes their compromise obvious. People are so used to environments where everyone does whatever it takes to win that your refusal to play dirty feels like an attack on their comfort. They realize that the things they've justified, dishonesty, gossip, manipulation, disloyalty, aren't necessary for success, and it forces them to confront what they've been sacrificing for temporary gains. Your discipline to stay aligned with your principles, even when it costs you opportunities or relationships, makes them question their own decisions, and that's a confrontation they didn't ask for, but can't avoid. Your integrity is quiet but loud. You're not out here announcing how honest you are, but people can see it in how you show up, how you keep your word, and how you don't compromise just because it's easier. They watch you maintain your character under pressure, and it challenges the excuses they make for themselves when they choose the easy way out. It's not your fault it makes them uncomfortable. It's that your consistency exposes their inconsistency. You've learned that your peace is worth more than quick wins, and your alignment is worth more than fake praise. Your authenticity has become your authority, and people feel it even if they never say it. It's why they're careful around you, why they watch what they say, and why they know you're not easily impressed by shallow success. You're not just successful, you're real. And in a world that rewards shortcuts, your refusal to compromise is the loudest statement you'll ever make. Number 13, you learn faster because you observe deeper. You learn faster because you observe deeper, and that's what makes your genius different. You're not just collecting random information to sound smart, you're paying attention to what others overlook, picking up patterns, motives, and lessons hidden in everyday moments. You don't just see what's happening, you watch how and why it's happening, quietly gathering insights while others rush to speak or react. That's why your wisdom often feels heavy when you share it. It's not borrowed from a quote online, it's pulled from real experience and deep observation. When life gets chaotic, most people panic, distract themselves, or run to someone else to fix it. You don't. You sit with the chaos, refusing to let fear or discomfort push you away from what it's trying to teach you. You've realized that chaos is often a teacher in disguise, exposing what's weak, what needs to change, and what you need to grow into next. While others avoid their problems, you study them, and that's why you evolve quickly. You're not afraid to face the hard, awkward, or confusing parts of life head-on because you trust yourself to extract the gold from the mess. You observe how people move, how they speak, what they avoid, and what makes them light up. You notice timing, energy shifts, and the unspoken rules guiding every room you walk into. This depth of observation lets you learn from situations that others would dismiss as unimportant, giving you insights that help you navigate life with clarity and precision. It's why people often wonder how you know what you know, or how you keep leveling up while they feel stuck in the same cycle. Your genius isn't about being loud, it's about being present. It's the quiet confidence that comes from seeing deeply, understanding fully, and acting wisely. You learn faster because you don't rush past the lessons hidden in ordinary moments, and you have the courage to face the discomfort required to extract those lessons. That's why your growth feels different, and why your progress speaks even when you don't. Number 14, you make your genius useful, not just impressive. You make your genius useful, not just impressive, and that's why people are left speechless around you. In a world where many chase knowledge to show off, you don't care about appearing smart for applause. You care about solving real problems and helping people move forward. Your intelligence isn't a trophy you hang on the wall. It's a tool you use to create systems, opportunities, and practical solutions that actually change lives. You've learned that it's easy to talk big and sound deep, but if it doesn't translate into action that helps someone, it's empty noise. That's why you don't waste time trying to prove how much you know. Instead, you use what you know to build, to fix what's broken, to guide others, and to create environments that improve lives in quiet but undeniable ways. People come to you expecting vague advice, but you give them clarity, structure, and practical steps they can act on immediately. And it shocks them because they're not used to intelligence that serves them. They're used to intelligence that competes with them. You're not driven by ego. You're driven by purpose. And that purpose turns your knowledge into impact. You study, learn, and master your skills not to flaunt them, but to leave every space you enter better than you found it. Your genius is felt, not just seen, because it shows up in how you solve issues others have been stuck on for years, in how you simplify complexity so others can understand, and in how you quietly empower people without needing credit. This is what separates you from those who are only intellectual performers. You live what you know, you apply what you learn, and you share it in a way that uplifts others, not just yourself. That's why people can't forget you once they encounter you. Your genius is not just impressive, it's useful, practical, and transformative, and that is far rarer and far more powerful than simply being smart for the sake of being seen. You didn't force your genius on anyone. You didn't scream for validation or beg for a seat at tables that could never contain the weight of what you carry. You simply kept evolving, kept learning, kept refining the quiet brilliance within you, and now the world can't ignore what they're seeing. They're realizing you've been the solution hiding in plain sight, the presence that exposes excuses, the mind that redefines limitations, and the spirit that refuses to bow to fear or mediocrity. Your genius is not loud, but it's undeniable. It's not driven by ego, but by purpose. It's not content with looking impressive. It insists on being useful, on building frameworks, on solving problems, and on leaving behind systems that outlive you. Your clarity disrupts illusions. Your integrity exposes hidden corruption. Your ability to sit with chaos and extract wisdom forces others to see what they've been avoiding. You are not just here to exist, you are here to shift paradigms, to bring order where there is chaos, and to awaken people to the possibility within themselves. You are proof that chosen ones don't need to announce who they are. Their fruit announces it for them. Your journey is a reminder that true genius is not in memorizing information, but in transforming it into impact, freedom, and healing for yourself and for others. That's why people are left speechless around you. It's not that they don't have words, it's that your life leaves them questioning why they settled for less. Keep moving in that quiet authority. Keep building, keep learning, keep unlearning, and keep serving with the depth you carry. Because your genius is needed and the world will keep discovering it, one room, one conversation, and one breakthrough at a time. If this message hit deep and reminded you why your quiet genius matters, don't just scroll away. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the content that keeps you growing and aligned on your chosen journey. Like this video if it reminded you of who you are. Comment below what part shook you the most or what part you're taking action on today. Share this with someone you know is a quiet genius, so they stop doubting themselves and start walking in their true authority. We're building a community of chosen ones who don't just want motivation but transformation. And you're a part of that. Stay aligned, stay sharp, and stay ready, because your genius isn't just for you. It's for every room you're called to shift. Subscribe now. Let's keep growing together.